Dadovitchnic. G'day, old Dadovitchnic here. Looking at these elevators, if you look at this one, you'll recognise the one I've got in my main base. I saw a much better one on highlighted by Doc M, developed by a guy called Test 137E29. Absolutely brilliant piece of kit. I have actually built this in my main world, not in the main base however. He also showed this glass fronted one, which I really like and could develop into something that looks similar to that one over there, my old one, but I can't actually get it to work. Anyway, without further ado, we'll go and have a look at the new one in the old world. Righto, here we are. I've had my old mob spawner here. I basically lit all that up and ripped out all the floors that were there, and used the pistons that were left over to build the elevator. It also gave me room to install a long drop. So this is my old base here. The spider spawn was over there, so now it's, rather than going up and down the ladder and taking forever to do it, I've got this thing. That is just awesome. So good, I want to do it again. It's actually so quick it takes the world a bit of time to catch up with you. Now, one thing you have to remember with this one, you got to make sure you've got more than a 2 high roof here, because the old fence post is about a block and a bit. So if you've got fence post there and the roof is only 2 high, you will fall all the way down and die. Last video I highlighted my new tree farm over there, and I was talking about the fact that you don't get many saplings out of it. So I built these two here, which I saw on Etho's old world ages ago. Basically just a ring of dirt blocks, whack some saplings in and just wait for them to grow. And strangely enough, most of these will grow. Usually only one per block won't, but when you do cut them down, you've got the water here to collect all the saplings and any wooden blocks that you miss. Okay, back in the main base here. Notice in the storage room here, this is where I had the quick kit fitted. I decided it'd be much better off being where I respawn. So I actually shrank it down a little bit and moved it in my respawn point. Makes much sense. So I'm actually respawn here, so it's just a quick matter of running in and grabbing the stuff out of it. Now this will only supply one of each main item that I need, which is armour, pick, shovel, sword, bow, a couple of potions, and then I just go in here and grab one complete line across. So in very little time you can be completely outfitted. As I said, I had to adjust it a little bit to make it fit in here, but it does the job that I need it to do. Righto. Nope, not there. Breeding. Righto, as I said, with the chicken farm, I've ripped out all that crappy wiring around the back of it and basically rebuilt it into a 3-way monostable circuit. It is very, very convoluted, but it works. So I've got a NOR latch system here, together with a bunch of repeaters on full setting, 8 of them. They would then turn the NOR latch off. So this thing will basically turn the water off, 8 repeaters, it'll turn it back on again. Now after that, the signal then goes up to the next level, and up here I've got a different sort of NOR latch. This is a 3-block one. Basically you've got a torch under here, lit up top, and another torch over the other side. The signal goes in here to turn it off. So basically this thing here just is permanently on, which keeps the torch here off. So basically it's a reverse sort of NOR latch, I suppose. The power goes on off, which turns that torch on, which turns this water off for the same 8 ticks, or 8 repeaters, and then back up to the next level. The next level's on the roof. Now there's also a 6 repeater delay in between the signal going to the next NOR latch. So that gives this one time to turn back on before the next one turns off. Anyway, it works quite well. I'm happy with it. Oops, we can see it working here. First one off and back on, next one off and back on, and last one off and then back on. So when I do want to put chickens in here, it'll work quite well. Apart from that, everything is exactly the same. Now with the cow one, I had a look at the one I was thinking of putting in, which is Automator MC's cow farm, and as much as I liked it, it is way too high to fit in here. So I'd basically have to rebuild the roof in here. I've sort of mucked up the roof line a bit with this already, and I really don't want to go any further. So because his is a lot smaller width wise, I had hoped to put 2 in here, eventually get some moose rooms in here as well, but I think I'll just stick with the cows. Okay, moving right along. This is the elevator that I'd like to change for the other type, but so I can't quite fit it in at the moment. I've done a fair bit of caving down here and a fair bit of lighting up of various places around here, which really needed to be done because it was I wasn't really getting good results out of my mob spawner upstairs, and the reason was that there was a extraordinarily large cavern system which basically started through the back here. Yep, it was good to clean it out actually. Got a nice lot of resources out of it, and there's still a little bit more to get out of it yet. But my mob spawning system has increased quite dramatically since I lit up this cavern and one over the other side. Okay, well, next thing I've got to clean up that pathway through there eventually too. There was water coming down here, I got rid of it, so I can open this out and make it a lot better to look at. Righto, this thing here is a mushroom farm. Now probably won't have too much in there at the moment. Oh no, 1 mushroom. And 2 mushrooms, there we go. Right, so they seem to be growing off here better. Okay, I've got them underneath these blocks as well, as you can see. And that's just to they should be able to spread out here, but they don't seem to be doing as well as these ones do. Right, I might have to change my plan of attack there. Yeah, these ones that are outside definitely seem to work better than the ones underneath. Okay, well I'll fix that up off camera. And it'll be good to get some more mushrooms. These brown ones are the ones I use for the potion room, to make the splash potions of instant damage. Yeah, another ravine. So 2 ravines right next to each other. That's just a simple redstone lever to turn it off, and the piston up the end of it just lets go and puts the water out. So nothing too spectacular there. Well, as you can see, that is a lot slower than the other one. But, I have to work out whether I can fit the new type into this particular area, because it's a lot longer than this one is. Anyway, I've actually gone up there, tard pillared up, and had a look inside there. I saw one spider which actually was sitting on some pressure plates and killed itself. So I don't actually have a spider problem up there. They spawn very rarely, so I don't actually get it clogged up much. It's mostly the other guys. Plus it's enderman friendly, so you get a good deal of ender pearls out of it. And plenty of bone meal, arrows and gunpowder. I'm also storing the rotten zombie flesh just in case I need to use it for some purpose later on. Okay, Dadovitchnic back again. Right, you notice this is the glass front elevator, the one that I couldn't get to work last time. Well, I've been playing around with it and finally got it to work. Now, if you have a look on the design of the tutorial, Test had redstone on each of these points. Now what that actually I found did was charge this block up, and once that happened, pardon me, these pistons on one side or the other would raise up. As you can see up there, the way I got around that was by replacing all those with repeaters. I kept the timing the same. So, oops, none of these have got any timing changes compared to what they were before. Now the other change that I had to make was underneath here. As you can see, under the old design, where that plate was, it was sitting on top of a repeater and did absolutely nothing. So I've simply moved these two one back, put a piece of redstone here, another repeater in here so they don't link up, and we now have contact. Awesome. So this is the design that I will be putting in my main base. It is fairly resource intensive, uses a heck of a lot of repeaters, as you can see, whereas the other one used virtually nothing, but I believe the looks are worth it. Okay.